PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to the show. This week on PACTV Community News, we have a great show tonight with stories from Duxbury, Kingston, Pembroke, and Plymouth.
We meet two young Duxbury students who won awards with the South Shore Conservatory's Russian music competition, and we meet a young entrepreneur from Plymouth with a unique story.
PCN takes you to Pembroke to learn about their newly designed, user-friendly website, and we hear the story behind the Parting Ways burial site in honor of Black History Month.
Health and Wellness brings us to our friends at Plymouth Fitness to hear how regular people keep up with their workouts, and Town Talk brings Plymouth's town manager to the set.
It's a full show, and we begin with a coastal conservation discussion in Plymouth. With so many conservation projects underway in the town of Plymouth, it's easy to lose track. The Goldenrod Foundation kicked off a series of town hall-style informative lectures to keep the public informed on the status of the multitude of projects that are being worked on.
Making Waves in Coastal Conservation, which is an annual speaker series we run. This is the third year, and today is the kickoff with David Gould, the Director of Marine and Environmental Affairs for Plymouth, and I'm really excited about this presentation. We'll talk about the great projects being done in Plymouth, the strategy behind them, and where we're going next. The big one for me that I've noticed the most is the restoration of Town Brook, because it's so involved and it's so exciting. I moved here from Virginia, and when I saw those herring coming up the stream, it blew me away. It was fantastic. And the fact that now they'll be able to get to their historic spawning grounds in Billington Sea, to me, is extremely exciting.
We've been working on Town Brook restoration for close to 15 years now. And so if we didn't have public support either from committees, the residents in town, Board of Selectmen, town meeting, if we didn't have that support, this project would have ended a long time ago. So it really is all about support. One of the great things for me is I go to a lot of different communities, and people always say to me, oh, you guys are lucky because you have a town meeting that supports the projects, the land acquisitions, and we're very fortunate. And so what makes us fortunate is we have a lot of people that are interested and supportive of environmental issues. Without that, none of these projects and none of these initiatives would ever get completed. We have wetland restoration projects going on. We also have aquaculture and shellfish activities. We also have our new shark data that we've been collecting from our acoustic buoys. And we also hopefully will be able to get T-Wharf underway, which is obviously a coastal project as well, and that should be starting construction sometime this spring.
We have 6 total presentations for this series, so 2 weeks from now, we'll have the next person who's coming from Connecticut to talk about a very interesting project involving urban youth. And the final one, the 6th one, will be student presentations, high school and college. Kids will talk for 10 minutes each and give us a wide variety of projects they're working on, perspectives, research that they've read about that's really interesting, and I know that Plymouth will give them a good turnout.
One of the great things I hope we get across today is just how much planning, permitting, hard work goes into getting to that point in time. And then when you actually see the physical construction, how much thought has gone into every single detail of what you're actually seeing out there. There's a lot of work behind the scenes for years leading up to these projects that people typically aren't that familiar with.
A certain Duxbury family has a lot to be proud of, as both of their sons recently took home prizes in a very demanding Russian music competition held in Boston. The boys trained at the South Shore Conservatory, and PCN met up with the family at its Duxbury location to hear more about why these boys won their awards.
I started when I was around 4 years old, and I was in China with my old teacher, and we moved here around January in the year 2013, and my teacher is Whaming, And so she helped me guide a lot, learned a lot, and helped me to read notes and put me on stage and just played on my first rehearsal. It was pretty fun.
So the Hutton family, the boys came about 3 years ago, and Matthew started first in the summer. He actually played for me first. I got to meet them. I always like to meet students first before we start lessons, make sure we are connected. I think personally because I will be involved with the family for many years and will be in each other's lives. It's important that somehow we need to first have like each other. So with Matthew, it was very special, and I heard his playing was very sensitive and very expressive. And I felt I was very lucky to have a student entering the studio and could have many years being together. And also we actually have lessons in Mandarin, so I give them a little sense of Chinese culture here. Luke actually came just probably 2 months later, started about 2.5 years ago. Luke actually was from the start very diligent and always prepare what I asked him to do. Where your right hand has the melody, left hand has the chords. You have to make sure left hand is as soft as possible, and right hand use your arm, give a beautiful sound, and sing every note. So because of it, last spring at the Conservatory's piano solo competition, he actually won a 3rd prize. And I was so happy for him. And Luke always participating in all the performance I asked him to do. And the student recital we have monthly, we often prepare for it if he has a piece finished and we go perform.
Sometimes we get frustrated when we get mistakes because you're going to go out and perform to a very good pianist and you're representing your teacher. So then you can prove it to everyone that you play good piano and your teacher's good, and yeah. Well, my solo competition, I lost, and so I played Beethoven. It was Sonatina in C. So I think that day we had another rehearsal after the competition, and I played very well. Fleming says, since this time was the best day you've ever played, she's going to put me in a Russian competition.
Even though they are very, very young, but they're doing so well, and it's because they have done it. Every time it's nerve-wracking, but just from having this opportunity to just keep on doing it, never give up. Even you mess up, but there's always another chance you can fix it very quickly. So, and I'm so proud of them.
That was pretty amazing.
That was cool.
All right, so I'm watching that, and what I didn't see up on the piano was any sheet music.
I
no
noticed
sheet
that
music.
too, right.
So did you play piano as a kid?
I did, but boy, nothing like that. And just the technique using their hands, you could tell they're just naturals at it. Unbelievable for 8 and 11 years old.
That was amazing.
Pretty terrific, good for them. The town of Pembroke has a new website with a lot of user friendliness in mind, as well as a mobile feature. PCN met up with the main developers to learn more about it and how residents can get on board.
The town's new website launched on January 8th. It was developed over several months of working with a committee, and I'm the primary content manager. Sabrina Chilcott in the Selectman's office is my co-manager of the website. This is the new website for the town of Pembroke. We're very, very proud of it. It is the first new website in almost 8 years. You can pay your bills. This is the list of the bills you can pay online. You can find out about trash, when the dates are to be picked up, if there are any special events happening with trash. Frequently asked questions. Every department can list the new frequently asked questions. And so this is a really good place to start. Say, for instance, you were interested in the new burning permit. Under the fire department, you'll see the frequently asked question about open burning. and it tells you open burning is allowed from January 15th through May 1st. Let's see, what else? Oh, find it fast. These are the links that we determined from studying the PASS website, some of the most frequently asked things that people look for when they actually go to the website. So whether it's paying your bills or finding town reports or where to vote, the quick link is right here. What we're really proud of is, there's two things in particular. One is there are lots of different ways for residents to get notified of information, whether they get automatic notices of an updated news item, or they can just go on the website and it goes right to your phone. It's a great thing. The other thing we're really fond of is we have the ability to post a lot of urgent alerts, urgent news updates. What I had done on the old website is I had heavily relied on Twitter to be able to do that. I had a Twitter feed, and that served its purpose because I could put that in from anywhere and it would be right on the website. This is actually built into the website. It's a red banner that appears if there's any news alerts, and residents see what's happening, and whether it's a police alert or a storm alert, it's a wonderful add-on for the residents in the town.
They say necessity is the mother of invention, and that was the case for local entrepreneur Natalie Chokrick. When she needed a coat for her dog and couldn't find one anywhere, she decided to put her sewing skills to the test. The rest is the story of one woman, one odd-shaped dog, and her sewing machine.
A few years ago, I got my dog, and I tried to find her a coat, and nothing would fit her. Her odd dog shape, if you will. But I ended up making her a coat, and everyone wanted one, so they're like, why don't you sell it? And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. I have a good job, got a full-time job, make a good living. Why would I do that? But then I started thinking about it, and I started making them. People wanted them, opened up my Etsy shop, and that's kind of how the whole thing started. People encouraged me, and I was like, I'm comfortable in my job, I'm making good money, and I'm happy, and I'm good at it, and people seem to like, what I do. But I'm happier at home working with my yoga pants, and that's pretty much my goal. Before I opened my Etsy shop, I did a lot of research, like 2 months worth of research, because I didn't want to mess it up. I wanted to do it right and do it proper. And so first move was I started my dog an Instagram account, which sounds a little crazy and it doesn't sound like something I normally do. But as of today, she's got 5,600 followers, and people eat her up. She's like my little mascot. So then the next step was I read that in the first month you don't usually make 20 sales. I made 30 and X, Y, and Z, and I ended up blowing the sales out of the water. So that was fun too. What got me started sewing was my mom, actually. She was a seamstress for years. She taught me how to hem a pair of pants, fix a rip or anything, and that's how I started sewing. And then I made the coat, and I realized that I could do more than just fix something. I could actually create something. I make everything by myself from home, which is awesome, working from home. My demographic is typically an outdoorsy camper, runner, anyone who wants to be outside with their dog or without their dog, because it's definitely 50-50 of stuff I sell for humans and stuff I sell for dogs. But my favorite is when I get an order that has both, because it means that it's my goal of what Odd Dog Company is being a dog owner and wanting to be outside with your dog. What I'd really like to do is encourage people to do what I've done. If they have a talent, if they have a spot and like a niche in the world that you could make your own stuff and sell it from home and kind of drop your comfort zone, that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm in the process of doing it. I've only been open for 7 months, but I'm hoping to go even more than that.
In honor of Black History Month this February, PCN brings you a story about 4 African American slaves who earned their freedom fighting in the American Revolutionary War and were granted land right here in Plymouth.
This is the courtroom of the 1749 Courthouse Museum, and right here in this space on March 12, 1792, Plymouth's town meeting decided to set aside a parcel of 94 acres of land to be granted to 4 Black Revolutionary War veterans. These 4 African American soldiers who served their country while they were still enslaved and later gained their freedom were Cato Howe, Prince Goodwin, Plato Turner, and Kwame Quash. After the war, they took advantage of this land grant, built homes, and raised their families on this rural area at the crossroads of Plimpton, Carver, and Plymouth. today called Parting Ways, and in their day known as New Guinea after the African roots of those early residents. The 4 residents of Parting Ways that had received the land from the town of Plymouth in 1792 lived there through their lives, and after they died, their families continued for some years afterwards, but eventually those home sites were abandoned. It was really difficult to make a livelihood in that rural part of Plymouth County. And the home sites of these African-American Revolutionary veterans became archaeological sites. They were excavated by a university team from Brown University in the 1970s, and some amazing artifacts were found. And this brought new attention to this area of local Black history, and eventually a memorial park area was created at the Parting Ways site. How do we learn more about the experiences of the African-American residents of Parting Ways? We have 2 areas we can look. One is documents and papers that have survived in town records and in other institutional hands, like Pilgrim Hall Museum, for example, where the original of this recruiting document survives. And it lists the soldiers that were being sought to serve in the new United States Army in the year 1780, and it describes each potential soldier by their race, so we can actually trace the experience of African Americans who served in the War for Independence through this sort of document. But we also have the objects that were actually dug out of the ground at Parting Ways, including these magnificent jars, beautiful earthenware jars that we used to store sugar in. And this comes out of the West African tradition that may have been actually brought over by the Black residents of Parting Ways from their roots in Africa, coming here in slavery. The 1749 Courthouse Museum is open 7 days a week, free to the public from early June to early October, and you're welcome to come here anytime during our open season and explore some of the treasures here, including these remarkable objects that tell us about the African American past at Parting Ways and here in Plymouth Colony.
You know, every time I see something like this, I realize how much more stuff I don't know about the town of Plymouth, and just how much stuff is out there.
I know. And the museums that we have in town are incredible. And this is a whole new one. I never knew anything about this. This Parting Ways Cemetery is really moving. It's a wonderful story, and I'm glad we could bring it to everybody.
Yeah, most definitely. This week's Health and Wellness segment is a little different than some of the others we've done in the past. Today, rather than talk to a trainer or class instructor, we meet Michelle Martino Overholt, mother of 3 who works a full-time job and just likes to stay in shape. Hopefully, she can inspire a lot of us others to stick with our New Year's resolutions.
Hi, I'm Michelle with your PCN Health and Wellness segment. The reasons I come to the gym is, number one, of course, is to stay in shape, but it also makes me a better person for everybody else. It keeps me well balanced, it keeps my mind clear, it helps me focus on day-to-day activities. One of the biggest challenges is, maintaining coming to the gym on a regular basis. The first thing is, if you just get here 1 day a week, that's great. For me, I work full-time and I have 3 small children, and I have a household also to maintain, and it involves traveling. So there's days when, I've been traveling for 3 days, and to come to the gym can be really challenging, but I have a great workout that I can do in a short period of time, and that's what motivates me. I'm not going to be at the gym for 2 hours. I work with a trainer 1 day a week, and I lift 3 days a week. One of those days is with the trainer, and I also do one of the classes on the weekends, which is cardio and involving body weight movements. So to the point of disliking doing cardio, running on the treadmill, the cardio class is 50 minutes long, and it involves body weight training combined with cardio as well as core moves, so you're working your entire body in one class, and you're getting a good workout. You're really working your lungs as well. I weight train 3 days a week, and it is a program that has 3 different segments to it, so it's 3 different workouts, so you never get bored with what you're doing. One of the main focuses, along with health and fitness and coming to the gym on a regular basis, is, of course, it has to involve eating right. So for me, My diet consists of a lot of protein, and there is carbs in my diet as well. Usually on a weight training day, I have carbs, lots of vegetables, and you know, on the weekend I allow myself to cheat a little, but the benefits of working out 3 days a week or just 1 day a week allows me to do that. Thanks for watching. This has been your PCN Health and Wellness segment.
Town Talk this week brings Plymouth's town manager, Melissa Arrighi, back to our set. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Lots to talk about.
There is.
We haven't been here in a while. Okay, let's start with what's on everyone's mind, the sewer problem in Plymouth.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I'd like to be able to come to this segment with good news, but the sewer main issue in Plymouth is a problem. Right. We have about 4.5 miles of ductile iron pipe that kind of snakes through the community. And we have about 5,000 users or so that use that system. And the system can never be shut down because then we would have backup issues throughout the community. Well, recently, from December 19th, we experienced our first significant break. That was on Massachusetts Department of Transportation property, way behind the Sheriff's Department, but right along Route 3. Yep. That was the initial break. And in digging down and looking at what that entailed, we saw that there was serious corrosion to this 30-inch main. Then we had a second break on January 27th. That was on Brayley Road, so it's kind of behind a cul-de-sac. But now we're in a vulnerable area because we have the Lout well that's in that area, so we wanted to shut that down. Now, there isn't a high demand for it at this time of year, but still, we want to be extra careful and involve the Board of Health. And then right as we got those bypass lines up and operational this past Sunday morning, we had an additional break on Westerly Road. And now you're talking about an area or town that could have serious environmental concerns because we need to do our due diligence to protect that town brook in the harbor. Right. I think this whole town has experienced more than their fair share of issue when sewage went into the harbor here. Right. We have an active fisherman population, aquaculture licenses. So luckily, very little gallons, well less than 100 gallons went into Town Brook. So the Division of Marine Fisheries has determined we don't need to do any shellfish bed closures, and that's, you know, in the scheme of everything that's happening right in a row, the town of Plymouth has been lucky in many of the areas, and environmentally is one of those.
That's very good news, right. So you're gonna have to get them all the lines fixed?
So what you're going to see over the next couple of weeks is going to be traffic interruptions. Right. And thankfully this isn't during tourist season, but it's still inconvenient for all our residents and the people that work here. But we're going to need to do another bypass that runs from Westerly all the way to the wastewater treatment plant, which everybody knows is on Camelot. So we're going to have to cross Long Pond Road. There's going to be issues with the exit ramps, Samoset Street. So it's going to be a significant amount of work, and you know that comes with costs.
But we got to do it.
You have to do it. In long term, we'll have to look at the whole 30-inch main and see if maybe we can do something better, like running 2 pipes, so that in the event that there is a catastrophic failure with one, we can switch the sewer over to the other.
Sure. Okay, so a lot will be going on with that in the near future and the far future, probably.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about the T-Wharf, something
that's
nice
good news
and interesting and fun.
So I think that every time I've talked publicly about the T-Wharf, that will be replacing it right in the center of Water Street. We will be knocking that down over the next couple weeks. Here's a project that, at least in the bids, has come in under budget.
Yay!
So we're ready to award that contract. They will knock down that T-Wharf that goes out, and then you will see over the next, I can't remember how long the project will take. I think 6 to 8 months to rebuild a new T-Wharf there that will be beautiful. Now people can walk out on it. Right now you just see the boards that are placed there a little precariously. This will be a nice enhancement to that area.
Excellent. That's wonderful. And in our last minute, talk to me about the town meeting that's happening in April.
April 2nd, Saturday town meeting. There aren't a lot of controversial items on. I mean, you'll see some bylaw things that have to do with signage at the new school. You'll possibly see a gravel removal permit. That can be sensitive for earth removal in Plymouth. But you will see the new fire station in North Plymouth. We have it narrowed down to 2 potential locations. We're working with both those owners now to see if we can secure that land. And we'll also have some pitches of what potentially the new fire station will look at approximately around $6 million.
And when do you want that completed? Is there a date?
Well, we would like to have secured a purchase and sale agreement by now. But when you're working with 2 different owners and 2 different sites, I think the fire chief has one favorite. I have another. Obviously, we will see which one we can secure first, and we're still in that process.
Okay. And a $200 million budget.
A $200 million budget. In addition, you'll see something on the special town meeting warrant for that same day to pay for some of these sewer issues that are going on.
All right. More to come.
Yes.
Wonderful. And we're heading into February. Thank you for watching this week's show. Replay times are listed at our website, and you can find each story on YouTube as well. Please follow us on social media for updates and previews to each episode. We'll see you next week for more local stories on PACTV Community News.